Hi, this is BK Black Krishna for manfulwars.com here on Saturday, February 23rd, 2019 in downtown Toronto, Canada at 10:31 a.m. And there's a little time check proof of that. So at manfulwars.com, I'm promoting polite patriotism to help nice, polite Canadian ladies and gents, 98% straight, plus others LGBT, whatever, look, walk, talk, and feel great, teach kids, discuss stuff they learn online, offline, and be proud, happy nationalists defending their country against globalism. So feel free to check out and support the manfulwars.com efforts as you'd like. On that note, this video is called, Can You Use Glass Instead of Plastic Bottles to Save Your Balls? Can you use glass instead of plastic bottles to save your balls? And this is to save your balls and eggs when it comes to men and women, guys and girls. And the reason is that plastic contains a chemical called BPA, bisphenol or bisphenol A. Now, even some plastics that say BPA free, they may have other similar compounds that affect your balls. And BPA or bisphenol A is a chemical they put in plastics to make them softer, easier to bend, easier to shape, into products. They put it to line tin cans, tuna cans, soup cans, and so on, to make sure that stuff doesn't stick to the sides of the cans. It's kind of a slippery lubricant. And it's stuff they put on receipts to make the receipts kind of softer or whatever, right? So you might think, well, that's a pretty useful chemical. The problem is BPA actually creates a form of xenoestrogen, a type of estrogen in your body. So it pumps guys full of estrogen, so they're way more feminized against their will than they should be. And it pumps girls full of estrogen, so they have a bunch of health problems as well, right? So with guys, you'll have narrower shoulders, narrower hips, thinner wrists. You'll have, more effeminate than they want to be. It's not like they're trying to be good at being a girl. Some guys get so bad at being men, they become bad at being women. And that's, this is part of the process. So destroys your balls, pumps you full of way more estrogen than a typical man should have. And that's bad for guys. And it pumps women full of way more estrogen than they should have. So, a few years ago, when girls would start menstruating, it was typically having their period. It was typically around the age of 12. Thanks to chemicals like BPA and others, it's dropped to 8. So years ago, you're around 12, 13, and you start to get your period. You wonder about it. Boom. Now it's like 7, 8 years old, in some cases, right? So it's important to try and avoid plastic and ingesting plastic and even touching plastic as much as you can. It's not like, oh my God, touch one drop of plastic, you're going to die. But using less is better than using more. So on that note, I've got a couple of things here. First of all, I like to keep some water with me at times. And I know it's fashionable to see plastic water bottles. You see them on TV. You see them in commercials. You have them at the office. You have them at the party. You see them at the grocery store and so on. However, if you use glass, the water tastes better and it's not as bad for your balls, right? So you can always bring a glass bottle with you. I've done this before, or when I've been playing tennis. I have a glass bottle. Somebody knows, oh, you're using glass. Like, yeah, you heard about BPA? He goes, oh yeah, we have a good conversation about that, right? And you can use glass. It tastes better. It doesn't taste as like, it's something in this water, besides what other normal crap is in the water. And it saves your balls. Now, the only drawback is it might break, right? So you might want to wrap it in a couple of plastic bags. If it does break, it's just a bunch of glass. Hopefully it doesn't get, cut you or cut up anything else in your bag or whatever. And you toss it out and you buy another one, right? So, and when it comes to that, try and avoid microwaving with plastic. Try and avoid, using plastic containers to store things. Better off using glass or ceramic, because all of those things leak into your food and then that gets into your body. And then if you're way bitchier than you should be, that might be the reason, right? You're jacked up on some, super ugly girl hormones. Guys, way bitchier than I should be. Girls, way bitchier than I should be. What's going on? Well, you just got jacked full of estrogen, right? It's like that's the problem, right? And plus, for guys, causes more health problems. Girls, causes breast cancer, ovarian cancer, etc., etc., etc. So, and I got a couple of pieces of proof when it comes to that to show you. One is from the giant familiar corporation known as McDonald's, right? So here this morning, I went to McDonald's and I got a sausage McMuffin, no egg, because they charge like $2 for the damn egg. What are you doing? People are crazy, right? But sausage McMuffin, no egg, got a pack of mayo, top it up, tasty little treat on a Saturday, and I got a medium coffee, 3 milks, and 1 sugar. And so, which I will take a sip of and enjoy now. Delicious. And they really stepped their coffee game up a few years ago. I'm not saying it's the greatest in the world, but for McDonald's coffee, it's pretty damn good. And so, I've got my McDonald's receipt here, and you might be like, how is this related to BPA and bisphenol A, and your crazy ideas about how BPA or bisphenol A or bisphenol A might be bad for you. How is this related? You know, are you just thinking crazy stuff? It's like, no. Even McDonald's, and I'm not saying everything they do is perfect, there might be some bad stuff in the food or in other parts of whatever, but McDonald's brags about having BPA or bisphenol A or bisphenol A receipts. They brag about having BPA-free receipts. And here, I'll show you. See? It says there, BPA-free paper with recycled content. BPA-free paper with recycled content. They brag about how this receipt doesn't have BPA to make it softer and slicker. And if you feel a McDonald's receipt, and you see this, you'll be like, it's not that awful. It's not like it cuts your fingers or makes you feel bad. It's just not as slick as some other receipts you get when you go shopping, right? And so that's an example. And when it comes to experts and doctors and scientists on this subject, some of them say, I never touch receipts with my bare hands, right? If I go shopping, I either have gloves on and I'll take the receipt and put it in a little, pouch if I need to use it for tax purposes or whatever, or they've got a pair of tweezers. And they'll be like, oh, here's your receipt, sir. Yeah, thank you. Take some tweezers, put it over there. Right? Now, I'm not that hyper-paranoid about it, but less is better than more. And that's why I suggest, plastic, glass bottles instead of plastic bottles, because that's pretty ubiquitous. And on that note, let's do a quick Google search here at 10:39 a.m. on Saturday, February 23rd, 2019. BK Black Krishna for manfulwars.com. And a quick Google search on BPA bisphenol A has Wikipedia, Naturally First, and a few other sources which I will briefly go over with you. So it says here, bisphenol A, chemical compound. It's an organic synthetic compound with the chemical formula blah blah blah, belonging to a group of blah blah blah, colorless solid that's soluble in organic blah blah blah. So that's the basic chemical composition. And then there's a bunch of, and this is just straight from Google, what is BPA? Should I be worried about it? From the Mayo Clinic. Now, if you haven't heard of the Mayo Clinic, it's not related to mayonnaise necessarily, but the Mayo Clinic is a very, very famous clinic in Baltimore, Maryland, that does amazing work in the healthcare field, from what I have heard, my limited exposure. So if BPA, if they're saying, should I be worried about it, then that's a clue. Right? Often used in containers that store food and beverages, whatever. And when it comes to, why it's in there, I'll get into that in a second. There it is from Wikipedia. Here's a couple more. What is BPA and why is it bad for you? From healthline.com. There's another one from Canada.ca, the official Canadian government website. It's on bisphenol A. And Canada, actually a few years ago, banned bisphenol A from baby bottles, right? They're like, okay, we know this chemical does this stuff to people, and we want to start banning it. And people, full-grown adults, 100 pounds, 200 pounds or whatever, are way bigger than, 3, 4, 5, 10-pound babies, right? So, or 5, 10-pound babies typically. So they decide to ban BPA, bisphenol A, from baby bottles. But that's not, that doesn't take care of everything and everybody. And, people still need to take personal responsibility when it comes to this sort of thing. So there's a bit from the Canadian government website. Again, bisphenol A from Canada.ca. And then, is BPA-free plastic safe? Get the facts from National Geographic. There's another example there. And what is BPA and is it safe from WebMD? WebMD is a website that has a lot of doctor information, pretty reputable when it comes to official healthcare style information. BPA is still common in blood samples 7 years after being declared toxic. So this is in 2017. 7 years after Canada declared bisphenol A or BPA to be toxic to human health, the studies show it's still there, it's still out there. So that's from globalnews.ca, a mainstream Canadian news organization. And from Men's Journal, why BPA-free plastic isn't necessarily safe. So you could say, oh, it says BPA, and it's like it might be BPA-free, but there's a bunch of parallel compounds, right? So if plastic has a chemical called BPA that's bad for you, there may be other chemicals associated with plastic that are bad for you, right? And more broadly speaking, as a nationalist versus globalism, the super rich evil people, the globalists, New World Order, some people call them Illuminati or whatever, it's pretty, if you want to be sort of normal, mainstream, you could say, well, they believe in the UN and World Bank and International Criminal Court, and they believe in more global governance structures. They believe that countries should be beholden to what global governance does, right? The UN, World Bank, International Criminal Court, international trade deals and treaties. And so we don't control our own country, they control us. So that, and the only reason they want to do that is not for us, and so they can control us. It's like, well, you have your own country, you people, decide what you want in your country, but if you subscribe to these international treaties and international bodies, then we control them, and then they control you, right? So that's the bigger picture, and that's nationalism versus globalism. Nationalists, people controlling their own country, and making sure that they're free and independent and prosperous, and then they can, trade with other countries and get along, but they control their own. That's nationalism. Globalism is super rich people use international organizations to control every country. So as part of that plan, those people want to destroy our balls and eggs, because then we can't fight back, and we can't let anybody fight back. Because if you're always a miserable bitch bitching about things, then anybody that can do anything else is just more worth bitching about, or bitching to, or you just bitch out. It's the great globalist bitch out, right? If you have men that are like, what? This is crazy. We're putting crap in our plastic to destroy our balls and eggs, mess with our kids? Bullshit. We need to do something. Then the bad guys are in real trouble. But they say, let's destroy your balls and eggs and make it so you can't do anything, you can't say anything, and anybody else who does, you're just going to mess them up until they can't say anything or do anything. Right? So even people that could possibly help each other, if any of the smart Canadians or whoever decides, hey, we should do something, then, all hopped up, pretend bitchy, sketchy, ugly girlfriend or boyfriend gets worked up, you're more worth bothering because you're less of a mess, and then they make you more of a mess. Right? And then you can't do anything, say anything. Right? Now you'd be like, no, slow down, it's important. It's like, yeah, I know it is. That's why I'm really excited to bother you until you can't talk, It's like, shit. So that's their plan, right? Their plan is to do that to people. And that's why they've been, pumping BPA and bisphenol A into everything. You might be like, why did they do that? How could they do that? How could they put that BPA? Why didn't they choose something else? There's a million ways to do things. There's a million compounds. There's a million other, why? This is why, right? And when it comes to their approach, it's not like all of a sudden nothing, bad people. They plan things in generations. It's kind of like farmers raise sheep, right? You want the sheep to be fat and happy and, full of wool or whatever, then you do that, right? And you feed them and make them fat and happy. And then if you want to kill them and take their wood, or eat some mutton, eat some sheep for dinner, then you kill them. And so they kind of look at us the same way. 1950s, 60s, strong families, strong TV shows, blah. Then 80s, stupid fathers, shrill, bitchy mothers. 90s, laughing at people acting stupid to call yourself smart. And then now, Netflix binge brainwashing and so on. And then this is where it's like, well, we don't need you anymore, right? We've got artificial intelligence. We've got robots to do most of the stuff you people can do, so we don't need you. We can just kill you off, right? And we're going to destroy the West, take down the West, destroy, Europe, Canada, America, destroy nice, polite people with, European manners and standards, nice, polite ladies and gentlemen who can get along and respect each other and communicate well and raise confident, happy children. Destroy all that so that, it's not like, we suck, we're racist, sexist, phobic, the third world's better. It's like, no. We used to be the role model that everybody else was trying to aspire to, right? It's like other countries around the world were like, we want to be like America, freedom, prosperity, guaranteed individual rights. We're like Canada, great place to be, world famous, nice, polite Canadians. Wow, one of the greatest countries in the world, if not the greatest, right? They want to destroy all that. And they are bringing up, with the China 2030 plan, among others, they're bringing up China, not because they, Chinese are better or whatever, because they built China to be the new communist capitalist hybrid, right? Total censorship, don't say anything, slave labor camps, social credit scores, don't tweet the wrong thing or we'll cut off your internet access, your banking access, your travel access, your food access. We'll essentially non-person you, right? They created that. They were communist, and then they brought in capitalism, and they made the perfect communist capitalist hybrid, and now they're bringing China up as the new role model to replace America. Everybody used to want to be like America. So, yep, want to be like America. Blue jeans, rock and roll, big houses, big cars. Everybody can make it. Everybody can be free, freedom of speech, free, prosperity. Yeah, everybody can get rich. Anybody has a chance. Yeah. Now they're like, nope. Let's destroy the West and bring up China as the global role model, and then, have the whole world basically be like the third world, right? So they're taking everything down, deindustrialization and so on. And there's a bigger agenda there. So that's why this is all so important, is that if you can simply use glass bottles instead of plastic and pass it on, and this sort of information, then it's possible you can have nice, polite, confident, happy, and capable Canadian adults, or wherever you live, with healthy balls and eggs, raising kids with healthy balls and eggs, and you can defend your country. If not, it just makes it harder. Is it the end-all, be-all of everything? No. But would it help? Sure. So anyway, I just wanted to go over that briefly, just to give you an idea. BK Black Krishna for manforwars.com here at 10:49 a.m. on Saturday, February 23rd, 2019. Feel free to support the Man for Wars efforts as you like. If the Man for Wars efforts are supported, then all this could be over really fast. If not, then maybe nothing's happening. Nobody can do anything. Nobody did do anything, and never mind. Right? So there you go. So BK Black Krishna from manforwars.com. Hope this helps, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.